Yeah, yeah, that's fine. The countdown will be finished when qualifying started, so
Yeah.
that is fine. Yeah, I'll nip to the toilet. No, we've Hello everybody and welcome back to the Radical Race series as we get towards the end of Season 2 in 2025 on our racing. We've got now to round 10 of our season. It's time for the Virginia International Raceway for the final of just 3 American rounds in this part of the season. And it's myself, Ian O'Leary, with Jim Cunningham with you here this evening. Good to be back on the Radical Race series. Very pleased to be here and good to be alongside you for this one, Jim. We're in the SR10s, we're at VIR. This is going to be a technical challenge for these drivers. It is a super punishing circuit out there in America. And looking forward to seeing how these guys tackle it because, as I say, there's absolutely no room for error around here.
No, this is a great American course, man. This course goes back to, it's got deep roots. But I tell you, what really made this course known to a lot of Americans was NASCAR used to practice. All the NASCAR guys used to come here to practice for their road course races because they don't really have a lot of road courses around the North Carolina area. So they were all coming up here to VIR, and this was their testing facility for their road course stuff. And that's how a lot of fans of even stock car racing, got familiar with this place. And I love this track, and I love this combo. I think an SR10 around this track is a really great car. This track is tough, but the SR10s have enough power to make it fun, and also enough downforce to really make this a challenging but fun combo.
And they will need the downforce as well, especially through some of these sections. The S's through 7, 8, 9, although arguably you should or could put more corners in there. But anyway, then through South Bend as well, for example. Plenty of those high-speed corners, but also I guess it's a good place to come testing because there is so many different types of corner as well. Pretty slow corners around the place, but also high-speed stuff as well. So I can imagine it is a good place to come and test yourself out. Tonight we're taking on 2 races as we always do in the Radical Race Series. 8 laps in the first race, 14 in the second, and that will be our format for tonight. So qualifying is just underway now. I wouldn't imagine have too long left, although we do have quite a bit of time remaining actually. We will get to the end of the session in a few moments' time. But so far, Simon Edwards has got the best time, 5/10 of a second quicker than Luke Maxwell. Then we've got Luke Crowley in 3rd place as well as the times get put onto the board. First of all, it's a good time from Simon Edwards by the looks of it, half a second quicker than Luke Maxwell after these round of times so far, and the only man in the 140s so far.
Yeah, it looks like Paul LeMay's on a good lap here from what I can see on the bottom of the screen. He had a purple sector in there. That middle sector going yellow on him was going to mess him up a little bit, but like he's on a pretty good run here. Of course, yeah. Simon's on a good run as well.
Yeah, he is, yeah. A couple of purple sectors going on. That's one of the slight advantages of this circuit, actually, is that there are so many sectors. It does allow us to have a look at a few drivers, actually, who are going quite well. Edwards and LeMay are 2 of those, certainly. This is Seth Brown. There is Edwards in the traditional purple and red, coming up towards and over the line now. That's going to be a bit quicker as well. The last 3 sectors, all fastest of anybody, 40.7 for him. In the background, LeMay is going to go quicker as well. He will move up to 2nd.
Oh, Maxwell's on a pretty good run here too. I do the SR8s with on Mondays, and a lot of these same guys that race these radicals racing both of them, and we had some good. These radicals just breed some good racing. They really do, man. Luke Maxwell had a couple of wins on Monday. He was strong.
Moves up to 2nd briefly before Crowley overtook him. Of course, you mentioned there plenty of radicals racing going on that week. We've got our one on the Monday, and then here on the Thursday, I watched Luke Crowley in another series on occasional Sundays as well, which is even more radicals racing. So there you go. There's plenty going on throughout the week.
I watched you broadcast some radical stuff that Luke Crowley was in, I believe, didn't I?
It was. Well, I can't tell you whether you watched it or not. I can't remember when the last round was. It wasn't that recently.
No,
but,
it wasn't. It
but I
wasn't
can't
super
really
recent. Yeah.
No.
But just for the record, since we're talking about Luke Crowley right now, I just want him to know that I'm still a believer. It's a long story. He said I gave up on him a couple seasons ago, and I didn't. If I saw the light, I'm still a believer to this day. I just want him to know that. He was giving me a bunch of grief about giving up on him because I said something about, he didn't have a chance or something, and he give me a little grief about it. But since I'm back for this one, I just want him to know that I'm still a believer.
Okay. I wondered where you started that sentence. Where on earth you were going?
Yes, well, that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there we go.
Luke
Maxwell just goes up.
Thought I got religion there for a second, huh?
Yeah, I know. Thinking, what the hell's this got to do with anything? Anyway, Maxwell moves up to third place in the meantime. He's also in the 40s now. LeMay actually gets very close up to Simon Edwards with that previous time as well. Those two separated by a very small margin. Damien G is about to come over the line as well. Personal best all throughout. And Graham Matthew hasn't set a time on the board just yet either, so that's going to be first time on the board for Graham Matthew here this afternoon as well. As we see G come towards the line here, that's going to be started just in front of where his previous time was, but not in front of Mike Busson just yet. What about Graham Matthew? Same goes for him. Paul LeMay further down in the field, second place. She's gone purple in the third sector. Simon Edwards not going any quicker, actually, as he's just displaced. There is Paul LeMay, but this is going to be a close end to the session between Edwards and LeMay by the looks of things. They're only separated at the moment by 14 thousandths of a second.
I know. Wow, that was so close. That was almost identical lap times. That was crazy how close that is.
It's fantastic to see between the two of them as Edwards goes over the line there. Will that be any quicker for LeMay as well? No, is the answer to that by quite some distance. Maxwell did take that third sector away from LeMay, so that's maybe where that's come from. Is he good enough through the final part of the lap? I'm not quite sure that he is here, as Mike Busson goes over the line into 7th place. What about Luke Maxwell here? Is he going to be close enough? He's not going to be pole, but it might be a bit of an improvement. It is going to be no improvement for him, unfortunately, a 41.0, and so that's going to be the end of that. It looks like our front row settled with Simon Edwards and Paul LeMay.
Yeah, I think at this point, there doesn't seem to be anybody on track right now that has the opportunity to do that. And it left here. We're going to go a little in-car shot. Sure, our paints are all good to go for this race. Some of them are running paint schemes I don't recognize. That could just be, what they're running, but I'm sure we got everything brushed up.
Yep, that's all fine. And Bird makes his way through the first sector now.
I love this course.
Not quite as quick in that first sector.
I really do love this course, man. Oh, he jumped. Oh, that was in.
Yeah. So I did wonder whether we're getting the close actually, but there we go. Bird deciding to carry on just for a bit of practice. Yep. But anyway, time for the first race of the day, and 8 laps coming up. It will be Simon Edwards who starts from the pole. 13 thousandths he's being credited with. It would look like 14 in the session. Luke Maxwell goes up to third place ahead of Luke Crowley alongside with Seth Brown and Jamie Bird, the first driver over a second off pole. Mike Busson down in 7th is a slight surprise with Phil Glover alongside. Damien G, Graham Matthew with the final drivers to set times, and they really only got towards the back. Alan Patterson will maybe start from the back, but not likely, unfortunately, based on unless things have changed since I was last here. We will wait and see. But Edwards is going to be on the pole, and he's going to have that running towards turn 1, that inside line as well, into what's a very difficult turn 1, don't forget.
Yeah, that's the turn 1 will get away from you here, especially when everybody gets all jammed up down there. It it kind of just falls away from you. You keep turning, and it wants to kind of if you get on the outside of it, it kind of cambers off the track a little bit there, and then it's an interesting setup into 2 and 3 there.
And yeah, then you really will be off the road, and you can go a very, very long way off as well through turn 1 here. The amount of space there is on the outside of the corner is unbelievable. The last time I watched Paul LeMay, by the way, at this circuit, just quickly, was he had a terrible start, but won the race almost because of it, because there was a big crash that he avoided. So let's see what happens this time round as we get ready for Radical Race Series action from the Virginia International Raceway. It's a good launch from Edwards, and Maxwell's going to get immediately alongside LeMay as well, though he might get boxed in here. No, not quite. LeMay comes off across to cover him in towards turn number 1. It's Maxwell in the orange on the outside line, braking later, and he's going to get some purchase on the outside there as well by the looks of it. Can he stay on the inside for 3 and 4? Doesn't look like it. Pulling alongside Luke Crowley will go along the outside by the looks of things on Maxwell. That is not going to happen either as they get into the first sector. Then it's Bird, Booson, who's up ahead of Brown, and then Phil Glover in the 8th position. A little bit of side-by-side just in the background. It's between Booson and Bird by the looks of it, or Bird and Brown, sorry. And it's Brown who's come out on top with that one by the looks of things. Or Bird maybe it is. Yeah, he has just slipped through just in front of Brown, and then you've got Mike Booson just in front of him. Booson's up to 5th place, by the way, up to the top 5 off that start. And Bird was having a look there in towards the S's, but he just backs out at the right time.
Well, that was a really good start, clean and some good passing. Got Booson really picking up 2 spots right there off the beginning. That is a fantastic start for him. And with these cars and this track, all you can get at the beginning is going to certainly help you, because this is not going to be a terribly easy place to pass in these cars.
Look at Seth Brown in the background here. He's so close to Jamie Bird on the way in towards this big overtaking opportunity at turn 14 at the end of the back straight into the corner. Oh, Bird too low on the brakes, and he's gone straight into the back of Mike Booson. Oh, and he's hit the tyre wall as well. That's going to be pretty big damage for Jamie Bird, I'm afraid. He's got late on the brakes there, straight into Mike Booson, and he's put big damage onto his... Oh, look at that steering damage. You can see it from up here. He's got terrible steering damage, as you can see, Jamie Bird. That is a huge, huge shame for him, and a huge shame for Mike Booson as well. Bird just seemed distracted by Seth Brown in behind him. He completely missed his braking point. Here comes Paul LeMay, meanwhile, on the outside line. Really wide line through turn 1, and Edwards is going to protect the inside and keep the lead.
Yeah, that's what happened to Jamie there. He got, to Paul there. He got so far on that outside, what I was talking about, the track just kind of falls away from you. You just lose the grip right there. Wow,
that was lively.
Yeah,
towards the end of the opening lap.
That was a heck of a... That's a tough section through there, man. Some of the layouts around here don't run that section, but when that section's in there, that's the place I mess up all the time, because you're coming in there at full speed and you have to brake to go through that section in most cars, and it'll catch you because you're flying when you're going in there.
It's very, very difficult, but it is currently being negotiated, thankfully, by 8 of them at least, even if we have had a bad start for some of those down towards the back end. Let's see if Paul LeMay can use this section to maybe make some overtakes. It's been really strong so far in the opening of this race, putting Simon Edwards under all sorts of pressure. And now he's going to pull to the left-hand side. Left it very late to pull out the slipstream, but he's on the outside line. Now absolutely door-to-door on the way in towards the corner, and Edwards on the inside gets it wrong. Oh, Simon Edwards off the road. That is a rare error from Simon Edwards, but a forced error enforced by Paul LeMay, who slipped through into the lead of this race.
There you go. That's exactly what I was talking about right there. That's a tough spot because you're flying and you have to brake there, and he just missed it that little bit. Paul had him distracted, and it was just enough. What a fantastic move. I honestly, when Paul went in there, I didn't think he was going to be able to hold that. I thought Paul was going to be the one in trouble, and it ended up being Simon. Well, that's going to be interesting watching Simon try to climb back up here.
Yeah, it will be absolutely fascinating to see how he can get back through. I thought Maxwell, by the way, was going to rear-end LeMay there, which was making me wince quite heavily there, but thankfully we got away with it. What a great start to this race. Quarter of the way through already, sadly. 2 laps down. You kind of want one of these races, you kind of want to go on forever at the moment. Yeah, with still 6 to go to enjoy it, though. Here, LeMay, Maxwell, Crowley and Edwards all seem very well matched, actually. When you start to factor in the slipstream, you start to realise that actually it's not just about Edwards and LeMay, it's all about the others as well. And Maxwell just went a bit wide there through South Bend from 2nd position. He's not lost really any time, though.
No, I think Busan might be his teammate. I think they're running similar liveries. Earlier during the warm-up, I was just sitting here watching him, and he went through there cutting grass with the front of that right through that exact same section, straight off the track there, mowing lawn with that front end of that Radical. I wanted to go back. It's been a bit, but we didn't really get a good look at it. I wanted to see that whole Jamie Bird, Mike Buisson.
Yeah, this is it.
Oh, he's
just misjudged it completely. He was alongside Seth Brown, was Jamie Bird. And, well, that angle on the tyre wall, by the way, is a pretty severe one. And as we saw, he's done a lot of suspension damage. And he's going to finish in 10th by the looks of things after that. But, yeah, what a big moment and a shame, really. It's just a classic case of, unfortunately, Jamie Bird just misjudging that, really, and getting that wrong in towards towards turn 14 at the end of the back straight there.
Yeah, that is brutal. That was a second. Well, I don't want to cut away just yet. I was going to go back and look at the pass for the lead, but I'm going to save that till, because they were getting kind of racy right here.
This will be close, these lot. LeMay, Maxwell, Crowley and Edwards, although Edwards is in danger of losing the slipstream entirely here, and that would be bad news for his race, because the front three would then be able to really stretch an advantage and keep him at bay maybe for the remainder of this one. But in towards the two right-handers, LeMay leads Maxwell, then Crowley out of Oak Tree corner, and it's Crowley who's closest actually as they come out of the corner, and LeMay knows that he's under a bit of threat here. He knows he's got to go on the defensive, but which side do you go here? It's what makes it so interesting at turn 14 here. There isn't a right or wrong way to do it, and Maxwell's trying to go on the grass almost on the right-hand side to try and get this done. He wants the inside at the second part, and he's got it. Late enough on the brakes, and he's taken the lead.
Yeah, that's I mean, that was a great job right there. He used the slipstream and then outbroke him at the end of that, where you have to, under that heavy braking zone right there. Basically, almost the same thing that Paul did to Simon just a few laps ago. Simon overshot his braking zone trying to stay in there with LeMay. Oh, Paul's going to come back and try it. Oh, I thought he was. Oh, that was a heavy lockup from somebody. Was that? Oh, yeah, that must have been Paul, because Luke Crowley's moving, trying to make a pass on him now. Paul going to give him the room. Well, first sector, no chance there, but yeah, it certainly shows the pressure that LeMay under there. That's I haven't seen that before. Since that's been there. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Not entirely accurate, I would have said, but anyway, never mind. It's not meant to. Through into the S's, and LeMay gets super close now to Maxwell on this section. It's actually a good slipstreaming section in these cars, although there's no way to get side by side and do anything with it, so you just got to kind of stay there and take your medicine, really, in towards the final couple of corners before that back straight. And LeMay's even on the defensive here from Crowley, who's running a bit wide through this bit, late apex, and he'll look to get the run. Is he close enough to get through on the way up to turn 14? I think he might be, although LeMay will have the slipstream from Maxwell just in front of him here. Look at that double slipstream though for Crowley. He's going to be gaining quickly, and he pulls out to the left, maybe a bit on the early side actually, because he's given up some free time there to Paul LeMay, who is on the outside line and stays in front.
Now you notice who rejoined this party real fast, huh? He was back there, just looked like he was about to drop out of the slipstream on him, and all of a sudden there's Simon back there chewing on everybody's tail.
Maxwell to get a bit further away as well, just over half a second in front here, but Edwards is absolutely there now. He's actually closest to making a move of any of the three who are looking to make overtakes. He's closest, but no chance in towards turn 1.
Yeah, I really thought Luke Crowley was going to get a good run there and get by Paul. Paul did a really nice job there of defending. One of the key points on this track is running up through Oak Tree there. The final big hairpin. Well, it's not really a hairpin, but double apex corner there. Because that's that run down that long back straightaway. You got to get through there clean, and Luke really did last time. I really thought he was going to make that work. I think you were right when you said he pulled out a little too soon. He killed all that draft he had.
LeMay was just moving around a little bit. It might have just and there's LeMay a bit wide actually. Does he have to defend? Not really. But LeMay was moving around a little bit, and I think he was scared, Crowley, that he would just rear end LeMay and he'd just run him over. But he might be just pulled out a little bit too early. He's not going to be doing any of that this time round, though, because they're all actually quite far away from making an overtake. Maybe LeMay's got a chance. Just don't forget, Maxwell doesn't have the chance to slipstream off of anybody himself. So there could be a decent chance for him here at the end of the straight to retake that lead again here. LeMay looks, but no, can't quite do it. Not sure how many laps we have remaining actually, but it can't be many now. Maxwell holding on just about ahead of Paul LeMay.
Well, for the record, we have 7 minutes left, so I'll let you do you're the lap guy, so.
Two laps left in that case.
True.
Yeah,
okay,
we are,
8 laps.
yeah. We are going to get to those laps before the minutes are elapsing as LeMay gets to the outside of Maxwell again at turn 1, but doesn't go through. And with Crowley so close behind, LeMay is fearful to go round the outside, I think, because he knows that if he doesn't come off, then he's going to lose second place as well.
Yeah, and it's Paul's been driving really well this week, though. He's been fast. It's been a season or two since I've done any radical stuff, except for I just started doing the new one on Monday. Paul has gotten almost seems like he's faster than he used to be. Luke Maxwell, it's always fun to see Luke Maxwell show up too, because he was working a lot last time I was doing these series, and he wasn't making every race. He's always fun and fast to watch too. This is quite a front foursome here, actually. And by the way, Luke Crowley's up there. I just want to still reiterate that I still believe Luke, even now.
Well, I mean, he could well have a double overtake chance here if he really wants to take it. He's certainly close enough. Is he going to go for it here? He's just pulling to the left-hand side. Is he just waiting and watching? Or is he going to go for it? Oh, he just is thinking about it, but he's not going to go through the middle or on the very left. He's going to have to wait here. LeMay steams through on Maxwell, who's got that line wrong a little bit there, although LeMay's nearly off as well. Oh, it's all happening now. Maxwell down the other side of the hill is pretty close, and this could get very rowdy in towards turn 1. Oh, and that's so close between Edwards and Crowley. I was just about to say Edwards is about time to try to make up some places now, because he's at the back of the group with just 1 lap to go. The white flag will be waving here, and they will get this last lap in. White flag, there it is. 8 laps in this first race. In towards turn number 1. Maxwell on the outside. Edwards on the outside. LeMay fighting him off for a race victory here. In towards turn 1 for the last time this race, and Paul LeMay holds him off.
Wow, that is some awesome racing right there. Man, Luke locked him up there as Paul was passing. Luke Maxwell. Crowley locked his tires up there, and I thought for sure Simon was going to get him. This is going to be, I'll tell you what, this run up through these S's here and getting off of Oak Tree is going to tell so much about how this is going to end up, I believe.
Yeah, this is going to be very, very interesting indeed to have a look at here as we continue to follow these guys racing out there at the VIR circuit. And Edwards is off. That'll be the end of him. He's caught the grass there. Oh, and Crowley's off. Goodness me, it's all happening here. Edwards into the grass. Crowley gets it wrong on the power, so Crowley's going to go down to 4th. Edwards will definitely be 3rd. What about LeMay and Maxwell, who have been fighting for this race win, certainly for the second half of this race, just between themselves? Maxwell is not close enough, and Paul LeMay is going to hang on to the race lead here by the looks of it. Through and down the hill they now go, and Luke Maxwell just isn't close enough right now to really make an impression and try and take this lead away. Final corner, he needs a much better run, but he's not going to get it. Paul LeMay is going to win here at VIR by just under a second in the end, ahead of Luke Maxwell. A great race between the two of them, and LeMay just about takes it.
Yeah, that was some good stuff right there. What's going to be fun is when we invert this field and we get to watch those 4 guys try to come up through the field. And, there's a few fast guys that just didn't make it up front here. By the way, we didn't even show my buddy Phil Glover. I got to give Phil Glover some airtime here. Phil's one of my favorite people in all of racing, man. He is so good. He's so funny. Wow. All right.
Good
Holy cow. What a race that was. Gee whiz.
Yeah, good first race to the day. But we're about to have a second race with the grid reversed in a moment, so we'll stick around for that, of course. Second race coming up for 14 laps on the board. It's Paul LeMay, though, who's taken the first race win ahead of Luke Maxwell, with Simon Edwards on the podium in the end after Crowley's late mistake. Seth Brown driven on his own for most of that second part of the race after Bird and Bouston hit each other. Phil Glover finished in 6th position ahead of Bouston, who got past Graham Matthew and Damien G towards the end. Bird retired about halfway through that race, but will be up towards the front for the next one, if indeed he is here. So let's hope so and see. But
that tire wall took Jamie out. There wasn't much chance of him surviving that. That was
no, all gaining places afterwards. Indeed.
Yeah, no, he was. Like you said, his steering was like 90 degrees. Here, while we're in a warm-up session, I'm gonna pull Phil in. James always used to do this. I'm gonna pull him in and have a little, as James would say, a little chin wag with him as he goes out for a.
Now then, you all right?
Bill, Jim Cunningham up in the booth. How you doing, man?
Hey Jim, good to hear you back.
It's good to be back, man. I had to pull you in here and say hello since I saw you sitting there, and I didn't get to chat with you before the race. How'd that first one go for you out there?
Wasn't too bad, fairly steady. Benefited from one or two people going off, but yeah, didn't have any real dramas, to be honest. So we'll wait and see how it goes in this one.
Yeah, this is a track that there's going to be a lot of people going off for sure. So you're gonna see, you finish 6th, so where are you going to be? You're going to be like starting 4th, I guess, in this one. That'll be good for you. Get up there towards the front.
Well, potentially, yeah.
Well, how have you been since I hadn't chatted with you in a while? It's been at least a season or so. You doing all right?
Yeah, been pretty good, really. Simon's still giving me some tips and things. So this is a pretty tricky course, though, to be honest.
It is. To be honest with you, you look like you handled it well. I didn't see you, getting off track or anything. You made so many improvements there during that couple of seasons that I was covering this. It's great. It's great to see Simon working with you and how all these guys help each other out in this league. I love it. But I guess are we gridding up here? Yeah, we are. Let's go. It was good chatting with you. Yeah. I'll talk to you later, buddy.
Yep. Take care.
That's Phil Glover chatting to us midway through tonight. We will chat to him as always at the end as normal. Jake Bird will be on the pole for this one, though, ahead of Damien G, Graham Matthew, Mike Boutson, Phil Glover, Seth Brown, Luke Crowley, Simon Edwards, Luke Maxwell and Paul LeMay. I went through them quickly because the gridding process like to be quick. And there you go. The lights are on. Oh dear, and it's not a great start, unfortunately. On the front by looking for Graham Matthew, who's slipping through the field already here. Maxwell slipping through on the inside. Look at Bouston defending there from Glover, who's stuck up on the inside. Oh, there's going to be contact. Wow, they've all got away with it. Nearly they did. Edwards goes around. Simon Edwards goes around. Half around anyway. He drops to the back end of the field, and that is just in behind Paul LeMay, who doesn't really make up very many places either, but Luke Maxwell certainly did, and Mike Bouston did as well. He leads from Seth Brown, then Phil Glover, then it's Luke Maxwell, if I'm not mistaken, in the next position further down the field. And not too bad of a start, but there is Phil currently running in third place off the start.
Wow, yeah, that was a pretty rough start there. Just didn't go well. Yeah, Simon, man, is all the way back there now. Ooh, that's going to be a
7th now. Unfortunately, by the way, Damien G and Jamie Bird have not taken the start here, which is a shame. So they are going to finish down towards the back, but that is a shame. Maxwell and Glover in the meantime are side by side, and that's going to be Maxwell getting past Phil Glover here.
So we lost Jamie Bird.
Yeah, Jamie Bird didn't start yet.
Oh,
that's an interesting tree.
Yeah, so it's the leaves were kind of nice and springtime.
Looks like they made out of cardboard.
Springtime,
just commenting.
Beautiful time of the year down here.
Just commenting on the texture of the trees. Anyway, instead of focusing on what should be focusing on, Phil Glover defending from Luke Crowley in towards turn number 1, outside line for Crowley, should be through. And next up will be no, he's not through actually. He's and he's gone behind Paul LeMay as well down in the background, so that's not gone well at all. side by side in towards turn 2 and 3. Now he's back on the inside, he's back through again. They're all still stuck behind Glover here, but this is 3 of those big 4 we saw at the front of the race in race 1. Just languishing down towards the back at the moment and giving Luke Maxwell a great chance to win this race. All stuck behind Phil Glover right now.
Yeah, they are, and they're going to have to seize this opportunity here through the S's and out of Oak Tree to get by him, or it won't take long, and Maxwell will be up there in the front and gone. He's so fast. Simon seems to be attempting to recover here. He's latched onto the back of those 3, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phil seems to be slightly off the pace a little bit there, maybe.
Well, he's got the 3 fastest drivers behind him, in fairness.
Well, that's
so
true, yes.
it's perhaps an unfair comparison, but yeah, it certainly doesn't look quite as quick as these 2. Oh, no! LeMay, I thought, was going to go to the opposite side. Maybe he still will. No, he doesn't know where to look at the moment, I wouldn't imagine. Does Glover. Now he's been passed by Crowley for that 4th position. LeMay and Edwards, for their race, have got to try and follow quickly now.
Yeah, this is the problem here. If you get hung out like this, it doesn't take much to get you out of the range of being able to catch back up.
Exactly, yeah. So LeMay's got to do this now. Sideline. He's surely going to make it, you would imagine. Breaks the latest, and there he goes. Right round the outside, and that'll be through. You don't actually see moves very often through turn 1 and 2, actually, but that was very well done from Paul LeMay. Nicely executed, and up to
Phil gave him
5th place.
plenty of room. Phil didn't squeeze him out there either, so that's, if Phil would have run him wide there, he could have stopped him from passing. But yeah, that's not Phil's style. But Simon still got to get through here.
Yeah, and again, got to do it quickly. Glover's already seen the gap grow to about 0.6 of a second, and Edwards will be seeing that as well. If he leaves this too long, then LeMay and Crowley are going to be up the road with no return here for Simon Edwards, and that could be disastrous in towards South Bend. Oh, Glover off the road, a little bit over the curve and up into the grass, and there's the position for Simon Edwards.
Oh, hang on to it, Phil. Hang on. All right, slow. You got to load up. All right. Wow. Okay. Let's go back up here and see what's happening up front. As Mike Buson's got a nice little lead here.
Yeah. Brown holding off Maxwell, and Crowley and LeMay are going side by side again this time round. LeMay looking really fast around the outside through turn 14. Very impressive overtake. And well, I thought these 3 would actually work together to try and bring back Maxwell, actually, and Buson and Brown as well, of course. But right now they're certainly not, and that was a very good overtake from Paul LeMay. Maxwell in turn is getting quite close to Brown as Crowley's getting close to LeMay. It's all happening out there on the circuit at the moment, and it's outside line again. Will the outside at turn 1 prevail again? No, not this time round. LeMay goes in a bit deeper and he keeps the place. Maxwell keeps the place from Seth Brown as well. Now he's up to 2nd.
I tell you what, Luke's all over him though. Luke's not giving that spot up easy, I tell you. He's staying on him. That's just allowing Simon to catch back up to him, which they, like I said, they do need to draft up there. The gap's getting pretty big for those 3 now.
We will, by the way, have 14 laps in this second race, by the way. It's a good deal longer, so plenty of time to figure this one out.
Maxwell's by Seth Brown now, so he's got to start closing in on. So I guess they are teammates, yeah. I thought they were running the same livery.
Yeah. Well, it's 1 and 2 at the moment, although Seth Brown is closing in that green. Here he comes on the way in towards turn 14, and Edwards on Crowley as well in the background. Seth doesn't get through, but what about Edwards? Does he get through? No, not quite. They all stay the same in those positions this time round, although LeMay goes a bit deep. Bit of an uncharacteristic mistake there, and he loses some time.
Wow, yeah, this is they're dicing all over the place out here, and it looks like Maxwell is still. Seth is all. I thought he was going to pull away from Seth Brown, but Death is giving him fits right now.
Well, yeah, it's just remaining close for second, and they're not bringing back Mike Booston either yet. I know we're not even a third of the way through the race yet, but and therefore there'll be plenty of time, obviously, to catch up over the course of about 25 minutes of racing, as we're going to see here. But yeah, this is not exactly coming back at the moment, and Booston's just controlling this race from the front.
Yeah, I'm saying this is not exactly how I envisioned this race going in my head, which is good. You know, that's makes it entertaining for sure. Yeah, this group up here is, well, he's starting to open his gap up a little bit now, but these three back here are still fighting it out for sure.
They are. And, will any of them have the run on any of the others this time round? Edwards was side by side with Crowley, at least at one stage on the straight last time, but look at the weaving around there from LeMay, from the right to the left and back to the left again. And which line is he going to choose here? Is he going to weave around a bit too much here for Crowley, who is going to move to the outside? He sees a gap. Oh, he drove down the grass to try and get it, but he couldn't get alongside in the end. And that'll be something Crowley may well just mention here, as LeMay goes a bit wide again through turn 14 for the second lap in a row. This is really costing them all time.
Yeah, this is not helping their situation any for sure. I really did think that those three were going to kind of work together here, but that's clearly not happening.
Oh, good. Yeah, well, I mean, have a look at this. This is not good working together from these guys here. It is inside line again for LeMay, and Crowley can't even stay alongside again there. It's so hard through turn 1 there on the outside. It's almost impossible. Turn 14 is a much better bet to have a go on. But again, Crowley has to give it a go, I suppose, and he wasn't successful this time around. So he's still in 5th place, but they are not gaining time on the leaders, that's for sure.
No, they are fighting it out hard back there, and that's certainly not helping their case any as far as catching the lead pack up there.
2.7 seconds now. No closer for these three.
You know,
as they come through the left-hander of South Bend. Edwards actually closer to Crowley than Crowley is to LeMay, but let's see what the exit's like here. That's what the most important thing is. And Edwards has got a very good run here. So is he going to try and get into the middle of this and try and break it all up, or what's going to happen here? It's going to be harder for him, of course, because Crowley's got the slipstream, and you can see he's got a much better slipstream actually from LeMay. Maybe he's even got a better car in a straight line right now as he moves to the left-hand side in towards turn 14. Are they finally going to resolve this? Oh, Crowley through on the inside, but I'm not sure that is going to resolve it really, or whether they'll just keep battling.
That was a nice pass. He did a good job there. Yeah, I don't think that's going to resolve anything.
No, I don't.
It's funny, you sit here and you watch them and you want to say, guys, you know, got to catch the front hook. Here goes Simon. That's going to be hard to make that work around with Paul, because Paul's fast, but yeah, I didn't think so. Hard to pull that outside move off on Paul LeMay. That's a tough move to make right there on him.
Exactly, yeah. It's almost like there's no point doing it at all, because it only costs you both time in the end. Well, that is going to make things even worse. LeMay has hit Crowley as he was going for a spin, and now LeMay's got no front end, and this group is completely broken apart. Crowley loses 5 seconds as well.
Yeah, and what a mess that is. So, yes, Paul's car's tore up. Let's see what happened there. So,
yeah. Crowley probably got damage as well, actually. Well, maybe not, actually. He's back at a decent speed, but yeah, just seemed to get it wrong there. I did notice the corner before, by the way, through turn 3, or turn 4, just went a little bit wide, slightly into the grass, not an off track or anything, but just slightly wide, and well, next corner goes and spins.
Right. Do you think let's see.
I mean, yeah, you just see it here, just a little bit wide through turn 4, just this sort of double left-hander, if you like. Too fast, I think, is the thing there for Crowley. And you know, it's not even off the circuit. It's slightly wide of the line, and then I'm not sure it was related at all really to the spin that happened the next corner, but just something worth noting anyway. As LeMay has had to come into pit lane, he drops back to 7th. It will be 8th by the end of all that. Maxwell now leads from Boosen as well, who's now side by side with Brown. This is going to give Luke Maxwell the chance to win the race, surely, as Steph Brown goes down the inside of Mike Boosen here, and he goes, oh no, he doesn't go through. Brown spins as he tries to pass Mike Boosen in the background. Steph Brown's now going to be off the podium.
Hot mess here. Oh yeah, he was just trying to carry a little too much speed off that. Got on the throttle a little too quick there. I can find the pass for the lead if I can. So much, everything happened all within about a lap there. I mean, half a lap there.
Yeah, there's been a lot going on. That's Crowley getting past Brown, by the way. Clearly, Crowley hasn't got any damage. I did fear for him initially, but he's clearly got away without any damage.
He came out all right, but he sure Paul LeMay didn't, unfortunately. Right,
surprising somewhat, because LeMay hit right on the front end, sort of square on the front, but Crowley would have been hit sort of right on the side where suspension might be and whatever. So this is, meantime, what happened in the battle for the race lead. Boosen defending on the inside, and we said many times that outside of turn 1 is just useless, but if you are a lot quicker in the exit of the final corner and onto the front straight, then you certainly can make it work. And Boosen had no choice but to give it up there. And after that, Brown gets alongside, tries to follow through as well here in towards turn 3 and 4. That creates the battle that we're watching. It takes a very narrow line towards turn 5, by the way. Oh, that's right.
Okay.
Did a hip check, and then Boosen goes around the outside through the first part, and Brown, as we know, spins through the second part.
Actually, that spin happened the turn before when they hip checked him. When Boosen hip checked him out to the side, he had a real shallow line going through there, and he did that. Ultimately, is what caused him to spin. Yeah, Luke Maxwell's out here now.
Might not see him again now.
No, probably not. Tail lights for a while now.
Well, he's still got 5 more laps to do after this one, so a long way to get back to the end. Simon Edwards is going to try and catch Boosen in that time as well, but that's 3.8 seconds. It'll be another consistent day, though, it looks like, for Simon Edwards, with 2 third places if it holds all the way to the line like this.
That's I'm not used to saying that about Simon. And when I was doing these races, he won every week. It was, just
yeah.
Oh. He's so good, obviously. He, like you said earlier, very rarely makes any kind of mistake.
I mean, as we saw earlier, there's a number of drivers who can basically do the same speed round here, and it all came down to battling effectively in race 1 and 2, and how he got through the field. Especially lap 1 for Luke Maxwell was where this race was won, I feel, because he was making moves all over the place, whereas the other 3 just couldn't quite get through the field as quickly as he could. And if he was dragged into that fight with the other 3 that they were having briefly before Crowley's spin and the contact with LeMay, then I think he would have stayed there with them. I don't think he had the speed to get away from them on his own, but he got through the field most efficiently in the first lap, and it's given him a very strong position out front now.
Yeah, well, I mean, as you and I talked about on a previous race we did together, that jumping somebody on the start in that first just corner or 2 is so important in cars that are evenly matched like this. These cars are so evenly matched with each other that you just need you got to take advantage when you can, and that's the best time because they're all jumbled up, bunched up together.
Yeah.
Well, and Luke got a nice, it's a lot of luck involved. Sometimes things open up in front of you, and sometimes they don't. You get behind somebody who doesn't get off the line well, and, but it was his. He had he made three spots up in the first corner or 2.
Yeah. Well, it's been pretty dominant so far. The only battle that we will have to watch now for the rest of this race probably is going to be between Brown and Crowley, and Seth Brown has been an interesting one so far today. I didn't think he would have the speed to stay with Crowley actually because of what happened in the first race, but he's right there with him now, and it just shows that when you are battling with someone, it does change things a little bit, and maybe I think we've just underestimated Seth Brown a little bit here based on race number 1, but in race 2 he's actually been passed by Crowley, and now he's got back past him again, so this might well last to the end of the race, which is another 4 laps away, by the way, in towards turn 1. Crowley is, late move, very late and too late. He's going to go, he's just about stayed on the circuit, and I'm not sure how, but great job from Seth Brown to see that coming and just steer out of turn 1.
He did too. He absolutely steered his car out of the way of that because he could see that Luke wasn't going to get it slowed up enough, I think, and he just did his business and just passed him right on back by.
Yep.
Actually,
this is going to continue to the end of the race by the looks of things in that case between these two for 4th position. Not going to be caught by Glover, and they're not going to catch the guys up front even if they did work together. That is over 10 seconds with 3.5 laps to go, so it is very much between these two.
This was earlier here, right? Yeah, this was before the lockup. He runs it in there. Yep, you can see Seth just steers way right out, and he just turns it back underneath. That's good driving, though. That right there. In fact, if you watch enough of this, you do officials and stuff like that, and you always hear people griping and complaining about, oh man, people always running into me. It's always somebody else's fault. That right there is exactly how you avoid that kind of stuff. You have to be a driver that is aware of your surroundings. He knew that Luke was coming in there too hot, and he moved his car out of the way so that he didn't get hit, and then he took his spot right back. And that is how you avoid that crap that happens in officials. And there are people, especially new drivers, they come in and people are running into me. Look at Luke going way wide there. That's what you got to do, though. That's how you avoid that kind of stuff right there. That is fantastic driving by Seth Brown.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it is just someone else's fault.
No, it is. But again, you improve your chances when you're aware and can do things like that. Because I know for the longest time I was one of those guys. Man, everybody's just runs into. The one I was always the one complaining about getting run into, and I realized that I put myself in a lot of those situations. And as soon as you remove yourself from the equation, it's amazing how much better you finish.
Slightly unfair of me. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, I saw the opportunity and I went for it.
Look, you know me. I like when you take a good shot. That's good.
Meanwhile, a couple of laps to go. I think lap 12 at the moment, as you can see, and Max Jones very much controlling this race now. There it is. He's just crossed the line, so 2 laps to go. Penultimate lap for him at the moment, and Buson's in behind him, holding off Simon Edwards quite well. So it's going to be a double podium for Maxwell. He came up only 2 tenths short in race 1. He's going to win in race 2, and he's going to take the most points out of today, more points than anybody else out of this race.
Yeah, they've spaced right out here. I'm going to have to be a little honest with you. I really thought that Simon would be able to close this gap up some, which he has some. It was, actually a decent amount. It was, but it was like maybe 8 seconds or something at one point, but I don't think he's going to close it up enough to catch and pass Mike at this point. I really thought that, because, he was such an alien, in these series. He was just so fast, which he is. Don't be wrong. He is.
Yeah. Well, it's winding down now, very much so, and Seth Brown just runs off the road slightly there on the exit of South Bend, and this is going to get interesting in towards Oak Tree Corner. this is going to be a big run for Crowley if he just gets this traction zone right. Don't forget, that's where he spun and lost his podium in the previous race. Now he's looking to get that 4th place for the 2nd race in a row. These two, if Crowley finished ahead of Brown, would finish in exactly the same place as what they did in the first race as well. They just returned to their previous position. So let's see if that does happen here. As Brown, he gets close to Crowley. Relatively close in towards that final chicane bit, but no, can't do it. And he stays behind Seth Brown for one more lap here.
You know, we were always joking about how old I am, the difference in you and I. I'm old enough that I remember when Oak Tree had an oak tree. That's how old I am.
Well, I mean, anyone over the age of about 7 remembers it also, but yes.
It was funny.
I've been felt for that long. Yeah. It's an iconic corner of this circuit, but unfortunately now it only bears the name and not the tree itself.
I told James. James said he wanted like a James Day, since you can apparently Mother's Day happens in different times in different countries. So James said he wanted to make a James Day, and I said for James Day I was going to come to VIR and plant an oak tree there in that corner in his name, and so it would be the James Oak Tree corner from then on.
There you go.
Craziness.
Sponsorship.
Yes.
for the new tree. They probably should plant one, shouldn't they, I suppose? But anyway.
It's kind of surprised they haven't, since it's such an iconic name and everything, you know?
Yeah. Well, it takes a while for it to grow, I suppose, to what it was before, but anyway, you could at least plant it. Anyway, Luke Maxwell's not that far away from the finish line here, and it looks like this race is about 1 lap too short for Simon Edwards, who has now caught up to Mike Booson, but he's just not going to have the laps to overtake. So Luke Maxwell makes his way through the final corners now, but he's going to take a very, very nice win here in the 2nd race at VIR. It was only 2 tenths away from victory in race 1, but he's come through the field better than anybody else, and he's won in the reverse grid race 2, just ahead of Mike Booson. Teammates in formation. And what about Crowley? Can he get past Brown at the very end of this race? He's got a decent run at the final corner here. Is he going to be side by side to the line? They are. Who's going to get just in front here? Goodness me, that is close. But Crowley can't quite get there, and Seth Brown gets 4th place.
Yep, so they actually swapped spots, a 4th and a 5th for both of them in alternating races there. My buddy Phil just finishing it up. I told Phil last season I wanted him to finishing up here after that unfortunate incident. He was so fast today too, and just did not get the results that show it. I told Phil I wanted him to set up a webcam so that we could watch him, you know, because he drives in VR and he has a motion rig. I told him I wanted him to set it up a webcam so we could watch him drive one day in his VR with his motion rig.
Yes, he's got a very high-tech setup. I remember that. Yeah, he certainly does. But there we go. That's the end of the 2nd race here tonight. And so let's have a look at the results and get into chatting with some of these drivers at the end of the day. It's Luke Maxwell who's taken the 2nd race victory, just ahead of Mike Booson, who holds off Simon Edwards at the end. Seth Brown and Luke Crowley round out the top 5, with Phil Glover a few seconds further adrift. Paul LeMay just past Graham Matthew towards the end. Unfortunately, Jamie Bird, Damien G and Alan Patterson did not start. So let's have a chat now to Luke Maxwell, who has taken the race win in race 2 and 2nd place in race 1. Congratulations, Luke, on scoring the most points of anybody here this afternoon. How was the 2nd race, especially early on? Because I thought you worked your way through the field probably better than any of the others. That's how you ended up out front by such a distance towards the end. How would you say this 2nd race went?
Yeah, I think I did get through the field quite well. I think, you know, it's a little bit of luck and a little bit of experience, I suppose. But yeah, I think, you know, unlucky for some of the other guys really getting clonk and being able to me to just keep in the toe. Was it Seth and Mike, wasn't it, up front? So managed to hang on to those two in the first couple of laps. It took me a little while to feel the tyres coming in, and then I could feel them going towards the end. So it was a bit of overheating. So I was just thinking I could see Simon, even with his damaged car, making time with me. So it's a case of trying to keep it steady. You know, if I didn't make any silly mistakes, it would have been all right.
Yeah, and it certainly was. It was a very different race to race 1, though. It was a 4-way battle for the win for pretty much the entirety of those 8 laps. Thoroughly enjoyable to watch. How was it like to be involved in that first race fight there?
Yeah, it was great fun. Obviously, it's been a while since I've been in the car, so it was. I didn't want to cause anyone any issues or bump anyone or ruin anyone's sort of championship, really. But I was thinking, I seem to be going all right here, so let's stick with it and see what happens. But great fun in race one. It was good. Lots of obviously the toe's very strong in this car, so you can make up if you lose a bit in the corners, you can make up on the straights. And I was running max downforce, and I think that helped me in the important areas.
Yeah, certainly looked like it did. Anyway, well, congratulations, Luke, on a race win and a second place as well in race one. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
Oh, blimey, I'll give a shout out to you guys. I didn't even think about it this week, but well done, guys. I'll go watch the broadcast back in a minute.
You're welcome to say no if you don't have anybody.
No, definitely you guys, definitely.
Well, yeah, we'll take it if we're the placeholders. Anyway, thanks for chatting to us, Luke, and thanks for or congratulations, shall I say, on two great race results tonight.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, see you later.
Thanks very much. That's Luke Maxwell, winner of race 2, just ahead of Mike Booson, who we can now bring in as well. Oh, sorry.
How blooming rude.
Conversation.
Could have asked first.
You gotta turn those wind machines down, Mike. You'll hear us better.
I tell you, it's even better today, boys. Got the aircon machine on, so keep checking me overclocks.
Goodness me. Right, but yeah, I've heard this debacle you've been having. By the way, it's been rather amusing. But anyway, let's talk about the racing though. First of all, race 2, where you were at second place in the end. Just talk us through a little bit of that one there. Overtook by Luke at the end, towards the end, and held off Simon. How was the second race?
Yeah, the second race went pretty well. Obviously, I didn't fight Luke hard, so I could fight myself. I'll be fine. We'll have a little tussle towards the end, but obviously Seth come alongside me, and I was sort of trying to leave too much or as much room as I could, but obviously that then meant Mr. Luke was up the road, Mr. Maxwell was up the road, and I just lost the focus. Do I look forward? Do I look back at Simon coming at me at a rate of knots? So. But it was a fair result.
It's hard to not look backwards when you got Simon behind you, for sure.
This is true. For a man who says he's got not a lot of aero, he still was doing all right, bless him.
Yeah. Well, it was going well towards the end. And race 1, how did you find yourself in towards the midfield, by the way? I got the feeling in qualifying you weren't enjoying the circuit very much, but then in race 2 you looked like you were going fine. So what happened there?
It's always a trait for me on this track is that I'm nowhere in practice, not very gain a little bit in quali, but race it pretty well. To be fair, I don't understand that really, but it is the way it is. And obviously Jamie gave me a little love kiss into the last corner. I don't think he forgot where his brake pedal was, bless him, and there I was, mowing the lawn.
Yeah, well, natural habitat and all that. So there you go.
Yeah. True. Talking about these sort of things, where is that part-time boss of yours?
He's taking it easy.
Taking it easy?
Yeah.
He's doing less and less. I tell you, it's.
He's out partying tonight. That's where he's at.
He's a bit old for that. Don't lie to me.
Well,
I think
I didn't say.
I get the impression down where he lives, he's probably joined a Morris dancing group or something like that. They're a bit weird down there. I'm just saying.
Not like you're from a very similar area, but whatever.
I'm from a posh end of Somerset, He's a little bit, council statey, I think. Not no disrespect to the council estate people, obviously, but it's factual.
You sound like you are, but
I am, to be fair. I don't care.
We'll end this interview before Mike digs himself a bit.
Yeah. Pass my regards to him if he can ever be asked to join us ever again.
Yeah, he asks every time. Yeah. Thanks very much for chatting to us, Mike. We'll see you. We'll see you soon, I'm sure.
See you soon, boys.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
Like Bruce in that chat to us at the end of tonight. There's always some dig at James in there.
Oh, that was so
Let's
good.
chat to let's chat to third place Simon Edwards, who was chasing him down towards the end there. Simon, welcome in. Good to have you with us, and congratulations on 2 third places here tonight. How did you go?
I was lucky, really. I mean, I nearly ended my race in that first race. I'd practiced that inside line, and I felt comfortable with it. And then as soon as I did it, I just locked up, nearly killed everybody. And then just got lucky to get third in that first race, because I went wide, trying to go wide. That makes sense. In the hairpin, trying to make a nice wide end exit, and screwed up. And then the second race, I've got pace here, but I'm making the lap in such a different way than everybody else is that I was really struggling to drive behind people, because I was either slamming into the back of them, or they were getting much better traction out of certain corners than me. So I was really struggling to sort of time anything. But you could see at the end there, I had pace, and my lap and my tyres weren't going off. I could have just gone like that for another 15 laps at that pace. So yeah, good race in the end, really. Pity that Paul got properly bashed. Did he have to pit? I presume he had to pit.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah, so it could have been a nice battle between the three of us if it had carried on. But it was nice to then go into hot lap mode and start chasing Mike. I just needed one more lap, and I would have been able to challenge him.
Yeah, I thought that at the end that you would have just liked one more lap in that race, but it wasn't to be. In terms of when you were in battling, by the way, what was that like around here? Because normally VAR is actually sort of advertised, I think, as one of those a bit hard to overtake circuits on, actually. But around here in the SR10s, it looked like there were some decent opportunities.
Yeah, there were opportunities. The outside move into T1 is difficult but possible, and then you can go either side at the top of the hill where I locked up. So you can make an overtake there, and there's other opportunities as well, but they're less. So I would say it's not the worst track for it. It's horrible to be in the third car, because you can't do anything. You have to wait until the other two do something. So that's a problem. You can't even get a run up the hill enough to get past two of them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, I'd say, on finishing on the podium here twice tonight. Thanks very much for coming to have a chat with us, and I'm sure we'll see you again next week.
Yeah, see you then. I'll try and not screw up then. Yeah.
Thanks very much, Simon Edwards. 2 podiums here tonight in the 2 races. Paul LeMay managed to win the first race, even if second race didn't go quite so well, and we can chat to him now as well. Congratulations, Paul. We'll talk about the first race win first of all. So so congratulations on that. I mean, what a great fight between yourself, Luke Maxwell, and Simon Edwards, and Crowley was there as well. Yep. How did you manage to hang on for that win in the end?
Good evening, guys. Well, I've just had so much trouble all week trying to get the balance in the car. Losing the rear on corner entry, losing the rear on exit. It's been awful. Brakes terrible. And somehow I pulled out a decent qualifying lap, which absolutely amazed me. But I managed to just hang in there, really. I run slightly different brake pads to the other guys, so I didn't quite have the braking power as the others. But yeah, somehow I managed to hang on. God knows how, but I did.
And you must be a bit disappointed that the sort of evening itself wasn't quite as end on a high as maybe you would have liked it. Sort of tell us about the incident that unfortunately forced you to pit in race 2 in the end.
Yeah, it's just one of those racing incidents. I know how much trouble I've had with the car being loose round here. So Luke lost it. I had nowhere to go. Just one of those things, It's just a racing incident. So he was going to wait for me. I told him to crack on, But yeah, a bit disappointed because we came into this race level on points with Simon. So I was hoping I could give him a good run at the championship, but yeah, these things happen.
Yeah, and there are still 2 more weeks after all left
Yeah.
in the season. So we'll look forward to seeing you then, Paul. Congratulations on at least victory in race 1 here tonight, and thanks for chatting to us as well.
Okay, guys, take care. See you soon.
Thanks very much. Paul the mate chatting to us at the end of tonight's racing from VAR. And finally, we can chat now to Phil Glover as well, who joined us between the races, but Nat joined us at the end as well. Good evening, Phil, and well done on a couple of races here tonight. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think you finished in, was it 6th place in both races here tonight? How was that for you?
I believe that's right. Yeah, I can't see the results, so but I think that's right. Yeah, and good to hear you back on the airways. It's been a while.
It has, yes. Yeah, I was trying to think actually, maybe over a year, but anyway, yeah, pleased to be back. I'm here for only 2 weeks though, so I'm making the most of it while I'm here.
Well,
But,
I need to win next week then, don't I?
Well, yes, ideally. The time's running out. But yeah, I mean, how was it? Well, tell us about race 2. We chatted to you after race 1. Tell us a bit about race 2 when you were in behind some, or ahead of rather, some of those fast guys coming through the field.
Yeah. Well, Simon's been giving me quite a lot of tuition. I saw Simon in my mirrors as we're coming up to that left-hander that you go over the top of the brow, and I was just way too quick into there. So I ended up on the grass and put me to the back, didn't it? I had Graham to catch, which I managed to catch him, and then he made a bit of an error, and that just made it a little bit quicker for me to get past. And then I think Paul LeMay had a problem, so that gave me another place, I guess. So yeah, a little bit disappointed in race 2, I guess, but yeah, not too bad overall, really, I suppose.
No, two consistent results, and I mean, what about this circuit itself? How challenging did you find that this week? Because it's one of, I mean, on a personal level, I find it very difficult to drive. To be honest, it's really hard. What did you think of this circuit this week?
It's really slippy, and I think the first third of the track is where I tend to lose most of the time. I'm probably dropping about a second and a half in the first third of the track, and then not too bad the rest of it. Whatever I've done practicing to try and increase my speed around that first third, I can't seem to do it. It's so slippy. I end up losing it if I accelerate a bit more or brake a bit later. It's a bit of a challenge. It's good fun though when you get it, especially the last part. As you dip down to take that right-hander, if you get that right, it feels so good heading off up the start line.
Yeah, no, it certainly is when you get it right, but unfortunately that is quite hard around here, as we all know. But there you go. Well, congratulations, Phil, on a couple of nice consistent results here, 6th place here, and thanks for chatting to us at the end as always.
Yeah, you're very welcome, guys. See you later. Thanks
so much. That's Phil Glover, 2 6th places for him tonight at VAR, and that is just about going to do it. We've interviewed almost all the field tonight, as a number of different drivers having some good races and some others having some bad ones. There's Phil Glover's slow motion trip across the grass that we've showed again. There you are. But these things happen. Yeah, it was a good couple of races here actually. As I said, I think to Paul maybe, Paul LeMay. I think it was, or it is normally VAR's, shown as a really difficult circuit to overtake on, but we didn't really see much of that here tonight.
I think it comes down to the combo. I think that this car and this track are just they work well together. What I found interesting was, Simon is known for running his low downforce setups, and that usually is what makes him faster than everybody else. He can drive a car with less downforce than most other guys can. That's his alien talent, And tonight, did you catch that Luke Maxwell said he was running a max downforce setup?
Yeah,
and
surprising.
Yes, and a couple other people made reference to the downforce setups. So I find it interesting. And then Simon was talking about how much he was struggling, against those guys coming off the turns. for some reason, the max downforce setup was the one it looked like for this track, which is strange to me because when I think of this track, I think of the fast sections, like flying up through the S's and, of course, coming down out of Oak Tree and down that long back straightaway. That I would have probably put the low downforce setup in myself, and as it turns out, it was the high downforce setup. That was very interesting to me.
Yeah, it was interesting actually to find that out. I was a bit surprised to learn that, but there you go. It's the way things have gone around here at VAR. I can't imagine there will be many people though on the ultra high downforce setup next week, because we will be at Mount Panorama at Bathurst, as we always seem to be, for the second last week of the season. So we very much look forward to that. We'll be live same time, same place here on the JPB YouTube channel for that one. I've been Ewan O'Leary alongside Jim Cunningham, and until we see you next week for the next round, the penultimate round of the Radical Race Series in the second season of 2025, it's goodbye for now.